Welcome to Mystic Journeys with HB, Derek, and Nerdy. How are you guys to start with?
Feeling good. I'm happy it's Monday. I'm ready
Oh,
for ready for the week.
well, you don't sound really enthusiastic, but
Well, I've got a lot of stuff to process before this weekend. I got a big camping trip, so
cool.
it's kind of everything's starting to set in today.
Go ahead and let everybody know about it.
Oh, okay. Well, this
I know
weekend
you've
I've
already
got
talked about it a
the
little bit.
I've got the Lost Creek foray camping foray this weekend, and it's in Lost Creek Wilderness. It's where I found some of the most special mushrooms last year, and I always find a bunch of cool edible mushrooms too. Hopefully, I get a good turnout. I have like 5 people I think that have signed up. I did have 6, one canceled, so I've kind of got 10 spaces left. I'm trying to cap it at 15. I don't want the group to get too big, but I'm really excited. I've got somebody filling in for a wilderness first aid approved person, and I've got 2 different people that are Colorado approved wild mushroom identification experts, myself and Chris. So yeah, hopefully we have a good time.
Cool stuff, man. I hope you guys have a good time and I hope everyone stays safe.
Yeah,
Let us
that's
know
the
what
goal.
kind of mushrooms you find to cook as well. I know you're doing a little bit of foraging, cooking kind of thing, right?
I'm hoping that's the goal. I may even just bring some mushrooms with me as fallback. I try to maybe bring some
Yeah.
king boletes or something that has a nice shelf life. Just
Mm-hmm.
fry that up in a pan just in case if everybody, we don't find anything good. But
Good idea, man.
ideally, we could potentially find some boletes, some Boletus rubriceps, or some Boletus barosii, or maybe even find some Lacterius deliciosus, or chanterelles, or lobster mushrooms, or there's a few more that I found out there.
Will you be? You said this weekend, correct?
Yeah, this weekend.
Have you guys had any rain?
I've been checking the weather out there, and this week leading up to the event, they should be getting rain. So all everything is lining up, and hopefully things fall right into place.
Sweet, congratulations, man. Um, this will be your first hosting foraging trip, correct?
I've hosted several in the past. It's just this is my first one that I'm really, really taking seriously because this is the
Cool.
first one where I'm like, okay, I am an actual mushroom identification expert. Let's go out into the woods and find something to eat, and let's do it for a couple days, and let's really make a big trip out of it. I
Right on.
tried doing this
Congratulations,
last
man.
summer, but nobody really signed up, and it was just me and my kid. We still had a blast. We found baskets and buckets of mushrooms, and we didn't even go the entire distance. We just stayed in the general vicinity where we camped. We had more mushrooms than I knew what to do with. It was crazy, but hopefully, we'll find a lot of good edibles that we can share with the crowd.
Cool. I'm proud of you, man. Congratulations, and hopefully this is the first of many more. Um, Derek, you recently went to a bike event. Is there anything you want to tell us about that? You said you went and got your bike blessed. Is this all that has to do the same with the same event?
Mm-mm. No, this was a parade for the veterans, and there was over 600 bikes there,
Oh, wow.
so it was pretty cool. Like we all met early in the morning and waited for everything, like the police and everything, the escorts, and for everyone to show up for the parade too. And then we just rode through, and then we had a little group ride after. And now we have another group ride scheduled this Saturday. We're going to do like close to 200 miles. We're going to go up to the Blue Ridge Parkway and stuff. Um,
Fuck yeah. It's
this is
beautiful
just
up
a
there.
little pre-trip, just a pre-trip this weekend coming up for the Sturgis trip. Everybody to get into sync because that's a long ride. So
Yes, sir.
it's going to be fun.
Nice. It's a good
Yeah,
idea too. Get a little bit of a not a test in, but a little bit of a shorter trip before you do a really long one.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Very cool.
everybody has different riding styles, and there's some people, you kind of you learn how they ride, and where you want them, near you or not near you.
Yeah.
You know.
Right on. Yeah, man. Um, stay safe whenever you guys go. And keep us
Yeah.
updated too. If you guys follow Derek on Instagram, you can go check out some of the videos.
I think there's some good life lesson in there.
Yeah.
About
Definitely follow.
who you're keeping close, who you stay
Yes,
down
sir.
away from, stuff like that.
But yeah, nothing new with me really. Just focusing on Zeta. I mean, getting into more gyms is becoming a hobby that's been slowly infecting my life. Finding them, picking rocks up, and put them into rock tumbler and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, but besides that, nothing really new. We have some really cool stuff to talk about today. Some safety stuff regarding psychedelics. Some educational stuff regarding agar and transfers, and some other cool stuff. Nerdy's going to pick up back up on the Egyptian Book of the Dead, like we spoke about Friday. We were going to bring it back up a little bit, but we're going to start off with The Way to Love. If you want to go ahead and get into that reading whenever you're ready.
I hope I'm not
Let's
too
start with
long
that.
when I get to my the papyrus of nerdy, but let's go ahead and get started with The Way to Love. This
Awesome.
one, where we left off, was page 55, and it is, "What must I do?" Teacher, what good deed must I do to have eternal life? Matthew 19:16. Think of yourself in a concert hall listening to the strains of the sweetest music when you suddenly remember that you forgot to lock your car. You're anxious about the car, you cannot walk out the hall, and you cannot enjoy the music. There you have the perfect image of life as it is lived by most human beings. For life, to those who have the cars to hear, for those who have the ears to hear, is a symphony.
Cars.
Yeah, it's a small text. For those who have the ears to hear is the symphony, but very, very rare indeed is the human being who hears the music. Why? Because they are busy listening to the noises that their conditioning and their programming have put into their heads.
Mhm.
That and something else. Their attachments. An attachment is a major killer of life. To really hear the symphony, you must be sensitively attuned to every instrument in the orchestra. When you take pleasure only in the drum, you cease to hear the symphony because the sound of the drum has blotted out the other instruments. You may have your preferences for drum or violin or piano. No harm in these, for a preference does not damage your capacity to hear and enjoy the other instruments. The moment your preference turns into an attachment, it hardens you to the other sounds. You
Yes.
suddenly undervalue them, and it blinds you to its particular instrument. For you to give it a value out of all proportion to its merit. Now look at a person or thing you have an attachment for, someone or something to whom you have handed over the power to make you happy or unhappy. Observe how, because of your concentration on getting this person or thing and holding on to it and enjoying it exclusively for the exclusion of other things and persons, and how, because of your obsession with this person or thing, you have less sensitivity to the rest of the world. You have become hardened and have the courage to see how prejudiced and blind you have become in the presence of this object of your attachment. Just 1 second, my mouth's dry.
No worries, man. Take your time. This is a great reading.
When you see this, you'll feel a yearning to rid yourself of every attachment. The problem is how?
Hmm.
Renunciation and avoidance is no help.
Rumination.
For to blot out the sound of the drum once again makes you as hard and insensitive to the concentrate solely. I'm going to start over in the sentence. Renunciation and avoidance is no help, For to blot out the sound of the drum once again makes you as hard and insensitive as to concentrate solely on the drum. What you need is not renunciation, but understanding, awareness. If your attachments have caused you suffering and sorrow, that's a help to understanding. If you have at least once in your life had the sweet taste of freedom and the delight in life that unattachment brings, that too is a help. It also helps to consciously notice the sound of the other instruments in the orchestra. But there is no substitute for the awareness that shows you the loss you suffer when you overvalue the drum, when you turn a deaf ear to the rest of the orchestra. The day that happens and your attachment to the drum drops, you will no longer say to your friend, "How happy you have made me." For in saying, you flatter his ego and manipulate him into wanting to please you again. And you give yourself the illusion that your happiness depends on your friend. Rather, you will say, "When you and I met, happiness arose." That leaves the happiness uncontaminated by his ego and yours. Neither of you can take the credit for it. And this makes it possible for the two of you to part with no attachment to each other or to the experience which your meeting generated. For you have enjoyed not each other, but the symphony that arose in your meeting. And when you move on to the next situation or person or work, you do so without any emotional carryover. And then
Yes.
you make the joyful discovery that the symphony arises there too, playing a different melody in the next situation, and the next, and the next. Now you will move through life living from one moment to the other, wholly absorbed in the present, carrying with you so little from the past that your spirit could pass through the eye of a needle, as little distracted by the worries of the future as the birds of the air and the flowers of the field. You will be attached to no person or thing, for you will have developed a taste for the symphony of life, and you will love life alone with the passionate attachment of your whole heart and your whole soul and your whole mind and all your strength. You will find yourself traveling unencumbered and free as a bird in the sky, always living in the eternal now. And now you will have found in your heart the answer to the question, "Master, what is it that I must do to get eternal life?" You got to give up those attachments.
Very well said. There's not really much I can add to that, but I can add a little bit. You guys want to go first?
That reminds me of a early childhood lesson I think we all learned on Sesame Street. Remember, waiter, there's a fly in my soup.
Mm-hmm.
Remember
Yeah.
that little skit? You know what I mean? It's like you got to get past that fly in your soup. You could go to your favorite restaurant, and then one little thing go wrong. Don't let it ruin it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and get past it. Don't. You know, um, there's not always going to be a fly in your soup. There's just one little thing, and you can get past it. But don't eat the fly.
Yeah. 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 Um, yeah, it's just all about just like, the Egyptian stuff. You got to lighten your heart and stop
Yeah, like
blocking out. Don't block out the stuff you don't like and run toward only the things you do like. You got to take in the whole picture.
definitely. Really, that's my answer to how to solve it is to let go, lighten up a little bit. It's weird because this book, it's not weird. It's all Easter practices, right? But this book has mentioned several times about the idea of our attachments and our programming. It's very much the four agreements. I talk about this with the Dovolosa, Mosa, or Moa rather. Our suffering, our greed, attachment. These things are our suffering, what causes our suffering, our ignorance to certain things. And our attachment is a really big one that causes a lot of suffering, and we're not even aware of it. Um, Diogenes, we talked about this, where he basically gave up everything he had. He gave up everything he had down to a drinking bowl until he watched a child drinking out of a puddle with his hands, and he even gave that away because he's like, you know what, you can live such a happier life without these attachments to these things that we cling to, that if we lose them, it's the end of our world, or if they change or any of that, right? So the analogy of a half glass full or a half glass empty kind of personality or mindset. They also talked a little bit about having too much going on. One of my friends talked about the idea of having too many pots on the stove. And that's really kind of a really unique way to look at it. Like, you're like, I'm cooking mac and cheese up front, I got mashed potatoes in the back, and I got, steak over here on the sides, like all of these different things cooking at different temperatures, different times and stuff. It's like you're bound to burn something if you have too much going on.
I can
So I like
relate.
that analogy. Go ahead.
I can relate with that.
Yeah, so that's why whenever that person told me that one of my friends said that to me, I'm like, yeah, this is really kind of a unique perspective. Rumination, you talk about this idea a lot. That's something that's stuck in my head as well, about how some things we just cling to, and we need to learn how to let go, but we cling to these things in our past, that things that have happened to us, and it's the reason why we can't get over things that have happened, physically to us, mentally to us, emotionally to us, all things that you can name. And I talked to a friend also earlier about this, about how, kind of what we're doing right now, for example, Mystic Journeys. I like to think what we're doing is helping people, but really I even said that in the chat just a minute ago. It's like, really what we're just doing is having conversations. If people choose to listen, they're helping themselves. They're the ones putting in the effort and doing it. This information is available everywhere. We're just the ones presenting it. Yeah, we're doing a good thing by helping give people an outlet to be able to see it, but whether they choose to listen to that shit or not, that's up to them.
I think we're having those deeper conversations where most social groups, they kind of shy away from it because they see a lot of this stuff as controversial. Religion, stuff like that, ethics, morals, it's all kind of sticky.
I agree. But me, it's the stuff that I like to talk about, the things that are like that. I feel like those are the things we need to be having conversations about. Is the most pivotal time now is to be having these conversations whenever there's so much going on and so much accessibility to information, the accessibility to be able to contact people all the way across the world and what have you, right? It's the times when we need to be having these tough conversations. And we're going to have a little bit of this tough conversation today about how to socialize with people, essentially, and get along rather than spread gossip and hate and drama and break our impeccability. Just a little bit more here. And in and amongst what I was talking about with helping people, as long as we're doing it exactly what they talked about in this book, it's we shouldn't have attachment to our reward, the things that we do, like hoping that we're going to get something from it monetarily or whatever, right? And then also to finish up what they finished up with in the book, it's flow free like nature. When you finally let go, and to me, yeah, that's my answer, is let go. Letting go is not about destroying things you enjoy. It's about setting down the mental burden of holding on to them too tightly. It's also about caring without clinging. You can still love people and enjoy your career and appreciate beautiful things. The problem arises only when you believe your happiness depends entirely on controlling or keeping these things. Avoid forced aversion. Trying too hard to forcefully let go or numb your feelings can actually create new attachment, the attachment to get rid of something. It's kind of the idea that sometimes the most, like, putting yourself around good people is not always a good Zen practice. What's a good Zen practice is putting yourself around people who annoy you. Going into a daycare full of screaming babies, or going into a place where people are like a stock market. They're like, they got a mission on hand and they're really kind of like impersonable. So it's like, these are the places that you can be the most Zen, to practice your, just trying to separate yourself from other people and your thoughts.
Rumination, I think, is just another way of like only focusing on the one thing, like the drums.
Yeah, good analogy.
You're so hyper focused on that one thing that you didn't get or that you wanted, and you can't focus on anything else. You're kind of ignoring all the other good stuff, all the good things in your life. You're so hyper focused on and some people I see, they're just hyper focused on like every interaction they have. They're looking for that bad thing and they're just waiting for it and pointing it out. I'm like, stop looking for the bad stuff because you'll find it. Maybe start looking for the good things because you'll find that too. You'll find
I used to be like that.
Yes,
I used to be that way. For sure. I used to live my life that way. Now I'm pretty allergic to that. It's funny. I saw a post today. This person was like, "Fuck the government. Fuck AI. Fuck blah 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 blah. All this different stuff." And I was so funny. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, "Yeah, if you have a fuck it type attitude, you get a fuck it type life. Like that's
Yeah.
what your life is. It's like fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. Well, that's why you have a fuck it type life because you're like fuck it to everything." So funny. The very first comment I read was that's like a poison or something like that. They were like generally just saying like that thought is like it's the reason why we have these fucking ruminations because we're something bad happens to us. Like I talked about with the puppy analogy, like get bit by a puppy. Now all of a sudden, people are afraid of dogs and fucking puppies for the rest of our life for no reason, all because of one altercation. And yeah, there's tons of analogies like that.
Existence is
But yeah.
pain. The more the quicker you realize that, the less you'll suffer.
Yeah, our attachment, man, our ignorance, our aversion.
Yeah.
These are our fucking things that cause our suffering.
Suffering is part of
There's
it.
tons of more things than that, but that's what it really boils down to.
How's it going, Magic David? Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, cheers. Hey, thank all y'all for being here, man. Appreciate y'all being here and learning. There's a lot of y'all in the chat that you don't even need praise, but we can see you guys working and doing what you're supposed to be doing. So appreciate y'all showing up.
I like that saying.
Let's.
If someone stole $1 from you, how many dollars are you going to waste trying to get that dollar back? Just like if someone pisses you off for one moment, for 1 minute, how many minutes are you going to waste on that? If that was money, you're going to spend all day pissed off because of 1 minute. Doesn't seem worth it, does it?
Your time is the one thing that you can't buy more of, and you use it wisely.
Beautiful way to look at
the
it.
Same 24 hours as Elon Musk or Bill Gates, or pick your rich person. How are you going to use those 24 hours?
There's something like I was talking about. We should be practicing. If you're not as happy to lose $100,
that's for sure. I'm not going to be spending it ruminating. Just focusing on the next task.
If you're not as happy to lose $100 as you already get it, then you have a lot of internal growing to do. Let's play a little clip here.
Cut your losses.
This is really cool. Sorry, go ahead.
I say cut your losses for your own sake.
Let it go.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Take it lightly or something like that? What's the way you put it? Lighten up.
Yeah, lighten your heart. It's like like the Egyptians. You're weighing your heart.
You want to do that first? You want to talk about the Egyptian Book of the Dead first?
No. Just take your time. We'll just get there. We'll get there.
No, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do it. If you want, or we can do this first if you'd like. It's up to you.
Did you guys pick your 42 things that you would confess, your negative confession after you die if you were an Egyptian? Did you guys work on that?
Well, mine's not necessarily a list, but I have some ideas and topics on this. But I'd like to hear you guys go first.
Derek, I understand. Mine, I can just share a link with everybody so they can just look at it if they want. It's in Google Documents, but I called it Papyrus of Nerdy for obvious reasons, because there's also the Papyrus of what was that one of Ani that we were talking about? He had 42. And then there's also Papyrus of Nu. He had 38. So it doesn't mean you necessarily needed 42, but that's like the longest, Book of the Dead that we've seen from anybody. So I just kind of wanted to copy his. But every Book of the Dead that I've come across, they're all quite different, but there's a lot of overlap. So I don't feel bad about coming up with my own. So my first one, I'm just gonna read them quickly, 1 through 42. I'm not in the other ones. Like it lists like the individual gods or the judges, but I'm not gonna bother with that. I am my judge. The way I see it is like I know what I've done. Nobody knows what I've done better than I do. I did. But so my first one is I have not acted unfairly to others. Number 2, I have not robbed. Number 3, I have not stolen. Number 4, I have not killed anyone. Number 5, I have not misused offerings. Number 6, I have not stolen donations. Number 7, I have not stolen from God. Number 8, I have not uttered lies. Number 9, I have not snatched away food from others. 10, I have not caused pain intentionally. 11, I have not committed adultery. 12, I have not maliciously caused others to weep. 13, I have not dealt deceitfully. 14, I have not attacked anyone. 15, I have not commanded anyone to kill. 16, I have not stolen land. 17, I have not been an eavesdropper. 18, I have not slandered anyone. 19, I have not been angry or wrathful without just cause. 20, I have not owned or wished to own slaves. 21, I have not raped. 22, I have not polluted myself. That was questionable. 23, I have not terrorized anyone. 24, I have not transgressed against equal human rights. 25, I have not burned with uncontrollable rage. 26, I have not shut my ears to the words of truth. 27, I have not blackmailed anyone. 28, I have not acted with insolence, which means rudeness or disrespect. 29, I have not been a stirrer up of strife. 30, I have not acted or judged with undue haste. 31, I have not polluted the waters or the earth. 30, I was thinking about also adding the air, but like I drive a car, we all are guilty of polluting the air, and it's kind of hard to add it to the list knowing that I'm doing it every day. So anyway, 32, I have not spoken in excess. That's another one. I'm like, maybe I have spoken too much here and there, but not to my awareness. 33, I have not wronged anyone, and I have done no evil. 34, I have not cursed anyone. 35, I have never stopped the flow of water to others. 36, I've never raised my voice. 37, I have not cursed God. 38, I have not acted with arrogance. 39, I have not acted out of greed. 40, I have not wasted food. 41, I have not treated anyone else's concepts and definitions of God with contempt. And 42, I have not killed any animal without good purpose. And that's my 42. Papyrus of Nerdy. And I might actually keep changing a few of them because I still think there's a little bit of overlap. And I think I could word some of these better because it's still, a lot of them still have the old wordage of like the original papyrus that I was basing it off of. I just kind of copied and pasted, and I was like, well, what does that word mean? There's so many of, like, I had to use my dictionary quite a bit, looking through the old papyruses. It's like, I don't know what they meant by that. Yo.
When you die and you go to meet God or whoever in the end, and you're speaking about this list, what do you do if you do lie or steal or cheat or whatever on this list?
Well, according to the Book of the Dead.
Well, hold on one second. Wait, does it each time add a thing to your thing, or is it all the lies that you've ever done?
I would think that it's any of the lies that you personally feel guilty of, any of the lies that your heart would be able to basically testify against you on. So if you can't remember it, then it doesn't count.
Okay.
But if you feel guilty about it, that would weigh. And this is just how I'm thinking about it. If you feel guilty about it, then it is weighing down your heart. So anything that happened when I was a kid and I don't remember it, then it probably doesn't count anymore. And I was a kid, so should it?
I don't know, man. It's a great question. That's why I'm asking you. Yeah, it's a unique perspective, really. And
also, let's say I did do one of those things on my list moving forward. That would weigh pretty heavily on my heart.
Because now you're aware of it.
The Egyptians believed that there are specific spells that can help prevent your heart from betraying you in that moment when they're weighing your heart against the feather. So even though you did the thing, there's ways of getting around it. Like there's
black magic, dude.
Right. Yeah, it's spells.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And it's money. Really, if you think about it,
it's a unique perspective, man. I don't follow to it, but I'm like, I like it.
So
but one important thing. Go ahead.
That's one of the reasons why they had their customized list, because let's say somebody was a judge, so then those people would be somebody that commanded others to kill. Sorry, this guy has got to die because that's just the law of the land. So
Yes, sir.
the judge wouldn't have that one on his list where it says I haven't commanded others to kill. Or let's say you're a priest and you raise your voice all the time because you have to speak up and talk to the crowd. The not raising your voice one wouldn't be on his list. It would be something completely different. And most lists I noticed there's like some of them have like I did not like fornicate. Another one would be like I didn't sleep with someone else's wife, and then there's another one like I did not adulter. I'm like, well, all three of those are basically the same thing. Why don't we
Right.
just combine that into one and add two more things that would be really much more helpful,
It's a unique perspective, man.
like don't rape and don't own slaves. Which I thought it was interesting because some of those papyruses from the past were like I did not own slaves, and I'm like, that's a good one. Why didn't Annie have that one on his list? Anyway, I don't know. It's so I included it in mine.
Okay. Well, to answer the question of what I think about this, I don't have a list to answer your question, but I do have some thoughts. Been thinking about this since we talked about it. I think it's really cool, interesting, unique concept. And I think there's definitely some stuff, the positive things that we can learn from it. One important thing that you mentioned is awareness. You mentioned about, I'm paraphrasing here, putting words in your mouth, but you were saying that there's probably things on the list that you may or may not have broken that you're aware of. And that's important because, again, it goes back to what I was saying about awareness. That's really what this list helps me do. So I think what's important for me when I look at that list of 42 and I look at these variations that you're talking about, I'm like, yeah, there's this one that could be on there on that list. But I think that looking at each individual list has its own benefit because of the awareness thing. It's the same thing I do with the Ten Commandments in Christianity. I try to look at it and go, yeah, that's really neat. That's a unique perspective. I think I could use that in my life. I could benefit from taking this tool and putting it in my pocket. So to me, that's the most beneficial thing that I can do with this Book of Dead is look at other people's books of Dead, and then whenever I see something new, I'm like adding it to mine in my head, what I think about it. I have a little bit more of a different idea on it than you. I think that my idea is probably we have all these memories inside of us that have ever happened. They're like literally contained within our heart. Everything that we do, good and bad, every single thing that's ever happened, the miscommunications and the lies and cheating and the stealing and the good things we've done too. So I think we always have that to answer for. And it's really hard. Like, I think that there's someone sitting there going, well, you lied this time and you lied this time and you lied this time. I don't know. It might just be like, these are all your lies. These are your lie pile. This is your thief pile. This is your good pile, whatever, right? Compliment pile, whatever you want to say. And it might be a really dirty pile. Like it might be like, oh shit, your dirty shit's over here weighing it down really heavy, but then your good stuff's over here, this little tiny mountain of good things you've done. And in your eyes, you're a good person, right? You've done good.
Right. Well, hear me out. What if the spells are repentance and making amends and not repeating it? Actually taking your
Like baptizing yourself, essentially.
Essentially, yeah, in your own way, but making amends with the people that you hurt. I think that would.
I think even if that's the case, you have to really mean what you say, because if there is a God afterwards that you have to answer to, you're going to have to answer for that. And then you tried to make it seem like you were clean, but in reality, you went right back to doing the same stuff you were before. So were you ever really clean? That's something
that's part of it. Asking for forgiveness and not changing your ways, that's not true. You're not actually taking it seriously. You have to actually try to change
it, feel it inside of you, and it has to be with no audience and no reward, no good or karma yoga only. It's really important. I think it's a really cool, interesting concept. I like it. Me, I'm all about the Egyptian culture and life. I think there's a lot of far-fetched shit out there about it, but there's a lot we don't understand. So I try to fill in the gaps. And I use this for all cultures and religions. It's nice for me. It gives me a really holistic point of view of spirituality and religion around the world. I'm still got a lot to learn. Shit, I'm only scratching the surface here. That's cool stuff. What do you think, D?
I think when you repent, you're not going to do it anymore. And it's going to weigh in your heart and your conscience. If you're being genuine about it, you know what I mean? Just like, say, a person cheats on their spouse, and then they say, "Oh, I love you. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it again." and then they turn around and they do it next week. You know what I mean? That's not genuine. That's not,
Nope.
you know, if they truly repent, that means they're not going to do it anymore, and they're going to be compelled not to. And if they do, it's going to weigh really, really heavy on them and make them feel horrible. And I think HB froze.
Yeah, you're right. But you're making some really good points there. I agree with what you're saying there wholeheartedly. Good stuff. That's a great frame right there. He's happy.
It is.
Yeah. He'll be back, I'm sure. Just a moment. In the meantime, welcome Mike Barabal and Lynette Ono and who else is here? Trent, how's it going, Trent? And I got to give Pops credit for the idea of the spells that the Egyptians were doing. Why couldn't it be forgiveness and not repeating and making amends with the person that you've hurt? That sounds fantastic. And spells, why not?
Yeah. And one of the questions earlier was like, or you said, and HB was talking about was, at what age? Like, if you've done something as a child, you have an age of accountability. You can't really hold something a child does against them. You know what I mean? Like they don't know any better. But we do have an age when we start to learn right from wrong. And that's the age of accountability. So once we start figuring out right and wrong for ourselves, we're shown the right way. From there on is when we're supposed to be doing the right things without being bribed or whatever, by our parents or
And
our
some
conscience.
people are simply just severely disabled mentally, and you can't necessarily hold them to the same standards as other people either. Similar to children.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the same accountability, absolutely, but I mean that's totally different than someone being, I don't know, entitled.
Yeah,
There's a difference between, and I mean, and there might be people that argue that entitled people are disabled because they don't have the emotional intelligence to know the difference. So, I mean, but that's not up for us to judge. That's for them to figure out later, right?
Figure out. Well, most people need to figure that on their own, but I don't think that many people that are struggling from that are even receptive to other people giving them that kind of feedback.
Yeah,
if that makes sense, because they're too emotionally immature. So, like, how do you guide someone that desperately needs it, but they just don't see it? That's the big struggle, right? I don't know. We just got to be here and not judge. Just be that safe space. Welcome back. Welcome back, buddy.
A little bit of internet buffering.
You froze like perfectly too.
I mean, as soon as you want to go speak. I'm Derek.
Yeah. Here, I can
I'm Derek. My other brother
cool.
Derek. And my other brother Derek.
Derek. I'm Derek, and this is Derek. Who's the real Squidward? Yeah, I have something really cool I want to show you guys. This is a really cool video. I'm just gonna play the video and let it explain itself here.
I've changed this like 2 times. It just keeps going back to Derek.
If I can't play it.
Type his name now. I can't fix it. I don't know why.
Let me play it for some reason. Give me just a sec.
Just drinking my drink. Grapefruit soda. Not bad. It's refreshing on a hot day. It's one of the better fruit flavored sodas. Pineapple, grapefruit. It's also one of the best gummy bears, grapefruit. Yes, Mello, you can be our little mermaid. You can be part of our world.
All right. Well, maybe you can have the damn thing. I don't know. We'll see. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Try to add the second video in.
Add source. Local video. No, not local video.
Let me pull it up, but it won't let me click on it.
Empathy with the first one or the second one? They're both 1 minute.
The second one first, and then play the first one next.
Abracadabra. Empathy without boundaries
Yeah,
is
either way, they
self-sabotage. It turns into people-pleasing,
Very similar.
creating a lack of self-respect. Many of us were taught to survive this way. Our parents, romantic partners, toxic groups or systems forced us to give up our needs for them. We may care about them, but stop caring about ourselves in the process, simply to avoid conflict, even if it's healthy. It's rough, especially if you were always around people who created unnecessary conflict,
Is it playing?
simply for the sake of it. That's when people let their empathy turn into pleasing. They feel responsible for emotions that are not theirs. It creates the energy of I need to help them and fix them, even if it's not your job, even if that's for them
Anyway,
to do.
if it won't play, I can just play it on
Empathy
my
with the
phone.
lack of boundaries will only hurt your soul. It will cause you to compromise your values, your beliefs, who you are at your core, all to maintain the comfort with someone else,
Yeah, I can't see
which
you. Just
doesn't
let me know
even
when it's
make
over.
a genuine connection. You can have empathy and have boundaries. You can care about people while also knowing it's not your job to fix them. It doesn't mean withholding help. It simply means choosing what is appropriate to focus on. Like the people who respect you, the ones who genuinely connect with you, not the ones who will simply use you and discard you, who want you to cater to them. Your needs are valid. The more you give up your boundaries, the more you give up yourself, your soul, your humanity. You deserve to be treated with kindness, just like everybody else. Deeper insights on my YouTube or the link in my bio, Drizzle.
Drizzle, drizzle. I like him.
Yeah, insecure people protect their egos. It's all about ego, pride, greed, reputation, what people
Aight,
think
so
about
boom.
them, money,
Toxic.
these very vengeful things. If you don't mind, play that other clip real fast too.
Sure.
Aight, so boom. Toxic groups regulate emotions through social pressure. These are groups that have a hierarchy, implicit rules that no one breaks, and a performance that they must maintain. They do what they can to avoid conflict, even if it's healthy and good for them. Their priority is maintaining stability, not in doing what's right. If someone starts growing or questioning behaviors of the group, it activates negative emotions in the other members. The group's collective ego gets triggered, which they want to maintain. So they project those emotions onto whoever's questioning things, to whoever's forcing them to confront something they don't want to, rather than what's actually being brought up. Either the person submits, stops questioning things, and goes back into their role, or they end up getting ostracized. The group rejects the person, labeling them as the problem, rather than what the group was actually doing. Healthy groups built on trust, respect, and vulnerability can allow for healthy conflict without getting super reactive. They can handle the tension, work through it, and grow. Unhealthy groups instead get emotional and project it rather than self-reflecting. If the person submits, all those negative emotions stay within that individual or whoever else questioned things. If the person gets removed, it provides immediate stability, but long-term the problems remain. This happens a lot in all types of groups, systems, and relationships. What is unhealthy always goes towards what's familiar and comfortable. What is healthy can survive and grow through discomfort. Longer videos on my YouTube, drizzle.
I like his drizzle. It's fun.
Yep. And I like these videos. Healthy groups spread with respect and kindness and learning, teaching. And other groups it's always about how they look to other people, what they can get out of other people, what they've done for other people. It's really greed and pride and attachment. I have a couple little ideas on this real fast that I've written down. When we try to help people, we take away their karma sometimes, right? And it's always a great thing to help people, but sometimes we enable people. People have done bad things and they're in the situation that they're in because of the things that they've done. We still enable them to be let down and to be able to be more addicted or to be more attached or to be able to ruminate more, whatever their thing is, right? Sometimes what we do when we try to help people, we end up just hindering them. I have some lyrics in a song that I wrote. It's, people lean on you, but you give them everything, but still they lean on you. You can't let them down so they can grow, so they can be complete. Yeah.
HB sat with you last night. Right?
What happened last night? I'm not remember what you're referring to.
No, I'm just saying, someone says, hey, HB, I was with you last night. You know what I mean? That probably isn't going to help that person in the long run because they're going to get away with whatever they're trying to hide.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly understanding what you mean by that. Can you elaborate a little bit?
I could, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Basically, if a friend tells you, hey, I was with you last night, like, lie for me, you're my alibi, you're then enabling that person by going said you're then a part of their crime, whatever they did.
A great example.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what I'm talking about, but that is a great example because you think you're helping someone, but in the end you're really just pushing the issue farther, making it worse for them. It's a great example.
Constantly giving certain friends who always need a ride, they're never prepared, or hey, I forgot this thing. Could you take me to the store real fast? I'm like, dude, like you live like
take some accountability
away from me, and like it's gonna like why do you have to keep inconveniencing me for all of these mistakes that you already have to deal with?
Definitely.
You're an adult. It's time to grow up and put your big boy pants on.
Definitely. And that's what they're talking about in this video. Sometimes tough love is the way to be. Sometimes you have to be like that to people to keep the love true. If you really care about someone, it's like sometimes we need to have these tough conversations. It might not be what you want to hear. It might not be what you like. It's something I've really learned over the past couple month or two, that really to be the best friend you can be, things are not left better unsaid. A prime example I'll give, I have in my life. There's a lot of older people that I hang around from an older generation. They lived a totally different life, dude. There's a lot of drugs there. It was more readily, socially acceptable to do these drugs. And I always think to myself, like, when people are lecturing me, like, you should do this, or this is how you should do that, or blah, blah, blah. I'm taking everything with a grain of salt, but I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, you can't have lived a life 10 times worse than me at my age, but tell me that I'm not doing things right or that I should be doing things this way, right? I think there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of wisdom that comes from making all those mistakes that they made too.
You're right, 100%.
There's a lot of people, like what you just described is like you described me perfectly. I have a lot of older friends that have been through way worse than I have.
Oh yeah.
And they're a little more, they just have a different kind of intelligence and different kind of wisdom than I have.
Yes, sir.
Not necessarily
I try to learn from that.
Yeah.
I definitely try to learn from that. But again, I think it's these tough conversations that we think we're being kind by not saying those things, because we're like, why would I say that to somebody? Because they're different. They changed their life. They're trying to be better. It's like, because sometimes that's the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it's like, I've never been addicted to drugs, and you never catch me snorting cocaine at bars with people and stuff like that. So for somebody who was at my age, pretty arrogant to be like, you're not doing things right, isn't it? You know, especially if you like count the trajectory of things, right? Like a
Well,
plane takes off. It's like if I'm already this high off the ground, I'll be up here where
if
you know
you're
it.
repeating some of their mistakes that they already made, then they might be right.
Maybe they are right. That's why I always love that quote. Maybe you're right. So I try to say I take things with a grain of salt because sometimes people are just like to preach
Especially
and they like
if-
to do
Especially
they like to
if
do
the
this group thing,
example
nerdy.
is,
So they like to build a group, and if you question anything in the group or you try to have these quote unquote tough conversations, then it's like you can't be here anymore. You can't deal with us because you're going to try to stir up the pot or whatever it is. Right?
especially if the example is snorting coke off the bar counter.
Yeah.
If that's what you're doing,
Whatever,
you're like,
right.
man, I already learned from this. Don't do that.
Yeah,
They're making a good point.
100%.
I think at some point
Yeah.
though, you get out of those ski bumps and stop going to the bar. You know what I mean?
That too.
Oh my gosh, dude. It was never my
I did.
style, but I'm not claiming to be like better than anybody else, but it's like, you know, you can't be fucking up your whole life and then get to a stage where you're like condemning people and judging people and pressing down on them. And if you question what they have to say, even if it's true, then you're wrong.
And I know that there's a lot of people that keep their addictions secret, and I don't judge them
Mhm.
for that. Even if the ones that are open about it, I do my best not to judge them for that. The fact that they're talking about it tells me that they want to change,
Yeah.
and talking about it is it's such a hard thing to do too.
Yeah.
But who better to help somebody that's struggling with it than somebody that's already recovered, or gotten past that hurdle from dealing with addiction.
Definitely. And there's a big difference, like you said, if what you're doing, like, hey, I went to jail for fighting, and you're talking to a younger kid about, hey, man, you got to stop this fighting shit. That's a different story. But if what you're talking about is, hey, I went to jail for doing drugs, selling drugs, and all these evil, nasty things, then how can you hate me because I don't clean up my room? You know, it's like condemning your kid, like, hey, you need to clean up your room, little boy. It's like, meanwhile, Dad, you used to do coke. Fucking don't tell me what the hell I need to do.
Well, two
You know?
completely different things, though, too.
Yeah,
I
exactly
mean,
right.
You can tell when someone's like going down the wrong path. You know what I mean? And
Yes, sir.
and if you've already been down that path, it's like don't make the same mistakes I did. You know.
100%. And I love
But I
shit
think-
like that. That's why I have a lot of older friends.
Yeah.
Let is switch names. Somebody has in the comments has something nice to say. Cheers, everyone. We got Lynette, Mello, Cyber, Joe. Love Joe. Appreciate you, man. Reminds me of Redecorate by 21 Pilots. Yep. Should I keep it on display or should I redecorate? Should I like make me a new person who I am? It's good.
That's a big part of, like, every time I reinvent myself, I'm like, you know what? I don't need these weird decorations anymore. It's like that's the old me. It's time to get rid of
Unique,
these
isn't
old
it?
Spider-Man posters. Don't need that anymore.
I love that.
that.
I try to constantly reinvent myself. Dude. Using psychedelics too, it helps me out a lot because I'm literally rewiring my brain to think differently, go a whole different direction than the old me. And then by the time you look back, you're like, wow, I am totally different. Like I don't even like this shit anymore, or I'd like this stuff totally way more. Yeah, I hope to change 20 more times before I die.
I wasted so much money on junk over the years. It feels good each time I purge that junk.
Yep, let go.
A lot of it's just paper.
Let
just
go, man.
Fancy paper and fancy plastic. That's usually all it is.
Learning how to let go, man. It's a really great theme. All right. Let's play Nerdy Guess That Mushroom real fast.
Oh,
I want you to do this a little backwards this time. I'm going to get you to pull up the mushroom for us
Hold up.
on the.
there we go.
All right. We're going to do this a little backwards. We're going to get you to pull up the mushroom first, and then we'll get you to obviously guess the mushroom, which you'll know immediately.
Okay.
But I want you to guess what state it's from.
Guess what state it's from. Okay.
Yes. Do you want the regular name of the mushroom or you want the scientific name?
Scientific name.
Let's do it. Give me just a second here, because I am ignorant. All right. Morchella.
Montana.
Hold on one sec. I have it pulled up in the background. I already forget. I think you're right though.
Really? First try.
Nope. It's an M state though. You have it in right.
Okay, so not Montana.
Here, I'll show
I
you guys.
doubt it's Mississippi.
This is the mushroom we're referring to,
Is
right?
that
Here.
Morchella esculenta or something like that? The yellow
Keep my
morel.
hand still. This is just a common one, so that helps you out. If you guys have been following along with what we're doing here, where you're looking at this nerdy, there's only several states that have official state mushrooms, and there's a few of them that have prospective, or I forget what exactly the word is that they use, proposed. So we're just going through the several that we know that are official, and we're 3 or 4 down.
Minnesota.
Minnesota is correct. As the Minnesota state official mushroom is the morel. And I thought that was pretty unique. I'm like, wow, it's not
I'm gonna
necessarily.
figure out. I think I'm
What you
guessing.
would
My
associate
my
with
guess is Morchella esculenta. Let me look it up. Let me see. So Minnesota.
And yes, I believe you're correct without looking at my notes I have there next to me.
Is Morchella esculenta. Yes, that's the yellow morel specifically. It's the common name.
Okay.
Cool.
Very cool. So Minnesota, shout out. Tell us some fun facts about morels right off the top. I know you know a lot about morel. What's the name of the mushroom you were talking about? Because they have the little like divots in them, and makes them a different name or classification of mushroom rather than ones that grow like your standard mushroom.
There's several lookalikes to morels. The number one mushroom that a lot of people think is a morel is called a stinkhorn. It it forms in an egg and then it just bursts out and it just grows super duper fast. And it stinks.
They do stink.
It stinks. Flies love it. And the head of the mushroom, where it looks like the pits and stuff, like a morel, it's covered in slime, and the flies are just attracted to it, and they leave with all the spores on their feet. And it's honestly, it's an edible mushroom when you catch it when it's younger. The stinkhorns, but they taste kind of like a radish if you get it when they're young. It's kind of like a young puffball in a way. You get it when you're young enough and they're still white flesh. You can eat them. But there's also another lookalike which is poisonous, and it's called the Gyromitra. The genus is Gyromitra. There's several species in the genus, but Gyromitra has a chemical in it called gyromitrin. And gyromitrin basically turns into rocket fuel in your body, and it messes you up so bad that you can die from it. Some people in some countries, they eat the Gyromitra mushrooms. They just cook it long enough. You know, it's like rocket fuel, so it's heat sensitive. So you cook it long enough and it's going to be fine to eat. But I don't trust it. And most of my colleges I know don't trust it. And we also believe that some of the morel poisonings were probably actually Gyromitra, or some morels just have the same toxins. So morels are one of those mushrooms, so you have to be extra super crazy careful when you're cooking them. You make sure you cook it long enough to make sure you kill all the toxins in it, because people have died from eating undercooked morels.
Interesting.
Of my list of 43 mushrooms that I'm allowed to forage, when I submitted that list to the state, is that a morel?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Looks like a pine cone.
It looks
That's
like
a pine cone, isn't it?
It looks
Yeah, it's
fuzzy.
one of those
No.
little pods. It's a
It's
holly
from a magnolia tree.
magnolia.
Seed pod. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it has
the
like those
morel
little red
mushroom.
berries.
So when I submitted my list of 43 mushrooms to the state, I specifically added on my list at the very end, no morels, no puffballs, no amanitas. Because if I sold somebody a morel mushroom and they did not cook it long enough, I would not, I couldn't live with myself. I'm like, so I intentionally just left off any morels at all on my list, and I still have 43 mushrooms on my list. If I were to include morels and a few species of puffballs and a couple species of amanitas, I could very easily have one of the longest lists of people of in the state of Colorado. I think the other guy, he has like just over 50. He's one of the more famous mycologists, but I won't name names. Um, but I have goals.
Sweet.
I have goals.
Switching lanes a little bit here. Still staying in the lane of mycology. I have a question about agar from somebody that asked in the chat here the other day.
Sure.
Agar. If I was to buy agar plates, first of all, what's my contamination risk on these? And then if they are good and they're not contaminated, how long can I keep them on my shelf?
As long as it doesn't dry out. So
Okay.
if your agar plates are completely sealed in plastic, they can probably sit there indefinitely, but the fluctuations of temperatures in your room might make your plates condense and get a little foggy. So with age, that's very, very likely to happen.
So that leads to my next question: the best way to store it, cool, dark area, out of direct
Um,
sunlight.
yeah, just as long as it's properly sealed, I think is all that really matters. If it's sterile,
Okay.
it's sterile. It won't go bad as long as it stays hydrated.
All right. And when I buy agar plates, if I was to get them offline, which I never have personally, I'm just asking theoretically or hypothetically. If I buy agar online, are all of them going to be sterile, or is there a contam risk? And what is the contam risk usually?
If you get contaminated plates from someone online, try to get your money back. No one should be
Sweet.
selling you contaminated plates. There should be some
Okay.
sort of guarantee or something like that backing that up, because
Sweet.
I've seen people who I considered friends selling contaminated plates, and I was like, dude, I was going to give this away to some friends and stuff, but it's contaminated before I got it out my house. But yeah,
Okay.
what can you do? But
What can you do, man?
what can you do? Sometimes things are
You
contaminated.
can also make your own agars. One thing you can do.
The best thing you can do, exactly, make your own agar and test every liquid culture and every culture from agar that you come in, transfer it to your own agar plate and watch it and make sure there's no contamination.
I have a
That's
couple of examples here.
the best
I even
thing
have
you can
one
do.
with a little bit of contam on here. Let me open it up and I'll show you here.
Assume everything is dirty until you can prove it's not. That looks
So you
decent.
see my little dot of contamination?
Yep. Right
It's
there at the
it's been
top.
there since the very beginning, before there was any mycelium growth. So this is a prime
Interesting.
example. You can still get another transfer. I could take a portion from this leading edge, transfer it to another agar, which I will do, and then
Do
I'll have another
multiple.
fresh cup.
Yep.
Yep, multiple, right?
Do like
100%.
6 cups, and then you may start 6 bags from those 6 cups, and you're good to go. And that little piece
Definitely.
of contamination that could have came from the lid. This
Exactly
one,
right, or anything. Right.
that one right there, it looks like it bounced around the surface a few times.
Exactly right. Good shit. You already know your shit.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to mention. You can see where I put the little piece of agar in there, and I was like, oh, it's not in the center, and I moved it around, and it still grew. And everywhere it
All it
touched, it left. That's all it takes.
All it takes is
Yeah.
for you to touch a piece of agar with your transfer, and it'll start growing there. And you can't see anything, but just that little tiny
really
particle.
cool.
That's all it takes. It's nuts.
Yeah, so it shows you what you could do. I could literally take one of those pieces of agar and touch it to 20 different plates if I want. So
Mhm.
you can spread the love too to your friends when you start to make this. This is a really fucking cool thing. You have a genetical bank of your mushrooms. Give it to your friends. You can trade back and forth different libraries and stuff. It's really fucking cool.
Expanding is one of the easiest things once you master agar. And then you can take a piece of
Yes, sir.
agar and put it into a jar of liquid culture. And
It's something that was
expands even faster.
Yep. I was avoiding it for a while, intimidation factor and all that. But like you said, you don't gotta be afraid of it. It's really simple and easy. When you do it, it's really fucking fun. It has the
It
science
is.
layer to it. Like, wow. question here. Risk of contamination and monotubs versus shoebox. What is the contamination comparison? Is it obviously, well, is it if one contains more or less than the other? And is it worth it to do monotubs versus shoebox, basically?
Well, you could combine the two and increase your odds even better. You could take a shoebox and put it inside of a larger monotub, and in a state like Colorado where it's super stupid dry, that's going to really help lock in that moisture, having that mini tub inside the bigger tub. But it all depends on your individual environment. Some people just have a lot of trichoderma spores and they're floating around their apartment. I think it's more likely if you're down on like the ground floor. I live on the third floor, so I just have a lot less particles and stuff floating around in my air, I think, probably because I'm on the third floor. It's just a wild guess. But I generally don't get a lot of contamination. If I see it, I get the contamination out as fast as possible. And so I don't have a lot of stuff floating around in my grow space. But I also don't have a lot of problems with dryness. I can just
Okay.
spray the lid of my dub tub and it's usually good to go. But if I
'Cause what I've
was
been-
struggling with dryness, I would just take my shoebox and put it inside of a larger sealed tub.
Okay. Good idea.
And then if
because
it's a shoebox inside of a bigger tub, you can actually just put like a little bit of like a puddle of water in the bottom of that bigger tub, and no concern about contamination, and it's going to keep that humidity up better than anything.
Very cool.
Some people like Dr. Edward Grand, he would use those puppy training pads or the incontinence pads you can put on your bed if you wet the bed, and he just gets those soaking wet and he puts it in the bottom of his tub, and it maintains the moisture for his exotic strains, and it works really well. So you could really dump like a couple cups of water on one of those incontinence pads, and it really takes it.
Perlite works good too.
Perlite too, yes.
Instead of a tray of Fairlight in there. Because if you research it, what you're going to find is that doing the monotubs, maybe you will get less contam, but when it does contam, you're going to be losing a lot more substrate, a lot more material, if you will, a lot more potential for mushroom, right? Presumably opening a shoebox to fan it like you have to do because there's no airflow. It introduces a risk of contamination every time you open it. And monotubs, they reduce that risk, but there's obviously a larger risk of losing when you do get a contam, right? Which could inevitably happen because a lot of the times people argue the contam is coming from the substrate itself. Because like you mentioned, it's not always sterilized, but pasteurized where it still has bacteria in there for the mushrooms to fight against, but it doesn't always win.
Here's how I look at this. Let's say you have enough materials to make either one monotub or 3 shoeboxes. When your monotub contaminates, it's done. If one of your boxes contaminates, you still got 2 more. So that's the way I see it. I'm like, especially in the beginning, like with agar, I'm like, if you're doing a transfer, do 4. You're 1 or 2 of those is going to survive, and a couple of them's probably going to be contaminated because you don't have enough practice yet. And same thing with jars of grain or bags of grain. Do 4 and hope for 2, especially in the beginning. Once you get more practice and you start doing it a few more times, you know that you're going to get it 1 for 1, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. And you start saving materials that way. But
very cool.
Yeah, I say do 3 instead of 1.
I like your idea of doing the combination of the 2. Here's some pink oyster right here, super wispy and fluffy. These were blue, just like these, and you can see now the color has been sucked out of them.
Yeah.
You can see on this one the color is starting to be pulled out of it by my ceiling.
Oysters they're voracious. They're just
super fluffy, wispy in my ceiling,
and they're fluffy. Yeah.
But yeah, I like to do my test strains and shoe boxes and my strains I'm familiar with and I know that I'm ready to get a big crop off of. I'll do them in bigger 22 quart tubs, 20 quarts, something like that.
Smart.
Anyway. All right. Now we're going to shift gears. We're still staying in mycology, but we're switching over to psychedelics. We're going to talk a little bit about the use of psychedelics, something that we have been needing to reach back on for a little bit. It'd be cool to get everybody's input on this shit. It's something I've been thinking about mushrooms in general. even for myself personally, I always say whenever I have a trip on mushrooms, I'll take a gram or two of mushrooms. I'm thinking to myself like, wow, I should do this way more often. But every time I think about doing it, I always make an excuse of why I shouldn't or why I can't, right? And never just sit down and commit and do the thing, right? Sit down and make an intention and have the trip. And I think that it's one thing I wanted to enlighten people that you don't really have to be afraid of it because it's the medicine that helps, right? And yeah, if you're doing it too often, that's a different story. It's not what I'm speaking about. What I'm speaking about is encouraging yourself to do it to help, right? And you have to take the medicine for it to work. You actually have to take it and then you have to do the work, right? For it to work the way that it's supposed to properly.
One of the struggles for finding enough time to do it, especially when you're like a, in a family, is if you're
Especially.
around somebody that's super duper toxic all the time, you can't get away from them, and that could really, really hold you back from even wanting to go because you're like, well, I don't want that to happen again because that was a really bad experience last time because I can't get away from this toxic person.
I want to enlighten people that it's all labels, like bad, and we have these ruminations rather. We stick in the past. We have this past experience, so now it makes us want to not have future experiences. But psychedelics aren't supposed to be taken for good experiences, fun experiences. They're supposed to be taken to enlighten yourself. And sometimes going through those things, and I get what you're saying, bro. I'd be on your team too. But sometimes going through those things is what we need. It's what it's trying to teach us and show us. And it's just like I was saying earlier, the things that we learn from Zen are not necessarily the people that are easygoing, free going. It's the people that really piss us off and get under our skin. And we have to learn how to live with that shit.
Yeah.
And how to ease in with it.
It's a lot easier
But you
dealing
don't
with
have
those
to
people
wrap
when
them.
you're not on mushrooms. What's that,
I
Joe?
agree. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to. I mean, that'd be like, eating moldy bread just because it's bread and you want bread.
Yeah, but
don't
this
have
could
to eat
happen regardless. It's the thing that we have to be aware of that psychedelics can do to us, even in the most quote unquote perfect environment with perfect set and setting. We still can have these experiences where they're traumatizing to us. You said you had an example like that whenever you were eating mushrooms, and it's like just sometimes our mind will give us the lessons that we need, and it's not always beautiful. It's not always perfect. And sometimes just how we think that maybe taking a mushroom dose in a situation like that would be bad, just like how we think that it would be good in a good setting and it always isn't. Maybe it could be good. It's just perspective, right? To really look at it. But my point is, regardless, like we're not necessarily taking bad things into account. If you have a place and if you have an area you can do it, you should do it. You should be like not afraid to use the medicine to heal if that's what you want. If that's what you decide in your head, if you're like, I'm going to use psilocybin to heal, then you should do it. You should use it to heal.
I think
Because you have nothing to fear but fear itself. Really,
struggle with having a safe space.
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand that, and I have sympathy for that. But also, people are full of excuses. For me, nothing's really more important than your mental health. So if it's really something that you're committed to, you'll find a way.
Right.
You'll find that time.
And right
There's
now,
no
it
excuses.
seems like the only safe spaces they're creating within this legal framework is with a therapist, and that's super expensive. Just because these people that are facilitators and with these licenses, they have to pay so much up front. It's insane. They have to charge ridiculous amounts of money. But there are avenues for people to actually create safe spaces in Colorado. It's just that most people are just like, where's the money? Where's the money?
Exactly
Where's the money?
right.
And I'm like, no, we just let's help some people. Let's do it for the right
Help.
reasons.
And then fast forward 3 years from now, Mystic Journeys has a place where we can facilitate guided mushroom trips and stuff.
That's the one thing where I feel like I can't actually provide is I can't provide a safe space for people yet.
Yeah, I understand, but it's something that we have to try to do because of this exact conversation, right?
Yeah.
This is what we need to be able to do.
With the church, it gives us a specific path forward on that.
The goal, man. Yep.
It's like it's built into the law and the legal frameworks that they created. So
I also want to say I have in my note here about not taking 5 grams like Serge McKenna recommends for a heroic dose. It's kind of something I wanted to mention to you about your situation. There's always a threshold dose, right? One where it's like, I'm under the influence of psychedelics, but I'm not tripping to where if somebody was to yell or raise their voice, I would be freaked out by it. That's another important thing to remember. We don't necessarily have to have that hero's dose to be able to have these experiences. And sometimes that's really detrimental. Again, I love Terrence McKenna, but I do not encourage people to take 5 grams or any grams at all. I encourage people to take small doses until they feel the effect they want and then stop there. There's also important really to find a regimen that works for you individually, not listen to what other people have to say, because what's 1 gram to you is 5 grams to the next person, and so on and so forth. And
True.
whether microdosing for you is going to be better, or whether macrodosing is going to be better for you, or how often you do it is going to be up to you, and only you're going to know the best. You can take other people's inferences and what they do and try to use it and test it. That's all fine and good, but don't listen to what other people have to say. Studies show that microdosing is much better for anxiety overall rather than big trips. Big trips can kind of make your anxiety worse. With depression, it's the opposite effect. Microdosing can kind of make depression a little bit worse, but the big doses are really what cure the depression. So it's all just scientific studies, though, right? A majority of people might be like that, but that doesn't mean that whenever you take it that you don't have better experience curing your anxiety on larger doses and not microdosing. Maybe microdosing gives you anxiety. Who knows? It's something that we should be listening to our bodies and our minds. But yeah, take the fucking medicine. It doesn't work unless you take it. And then you'll be surprised. You keep microdosing. If microdosing is your thing, you'll look back and be like, wow, microdosing has really like steered my life in a different direction. Or if macrodosing is your thing, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I've had these profound experiences 3 or 4 times in my life where I can look back and be like, it steered me in a whole nother way.
You know, I don't hate larger doses. It's just think that someone should build up a good amount of experience before they start taking those leaps.
Definitely.
Because I feel like some of my biggest leaps of progress, my personal progress, and personal growth.
Hope you were lagging a little bit, Derek. Go ahead.
For ourselves. I think it's up to us to determine for ourselves. Like Nerdy was just saying. I mean, I like the larger dose, and I've dosed microdoses for like a long time and taken different size doses. But I think the most beneficial for me have been really large doses. Because it helped me work through a lot of things. But if you're not ready for that, don't do it because it is intense.
It's drastic changes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And some people have had 5 mushroom trips, and 100%, man. People have had 5 mushroom trips and they think they're the fucking guru. They think they've done it all. And me, I've had hundreds of psychedelic trips on LSD, mushrooms, and DMT, thousands of trips combined between all the 3 of them. And I can tell you that I haven't even scratched the surface of what's out there. And there are people that really do try to dive in and see what's going on. And I think to myself, it's like Terrence McKenna talked about this idea about how there's so many people who have only done psychedelics a handful of times. So yeah, they preach about it like they think they know it all. And one of the most common ignorant comments I see of people with good intentions online, whenever you look up a psychedelic video, meditation video or something like that, the comments would be like, love is the answer. Love is the answer. I wish you love and compassion. It's like people who have only had a handful of mushroom trips where everything went swell. But what happens on that 7th, 8th, 20th, 50th mushroom trip and everything goes to hell and you have a bad experience? Does that mean that life is evil, bad, death, destruction, and all the horrible things you've done? No. It means that love, hate, bad, death, good, all these names that we give things, it's all of it swirling together. It's not like love is over superpowering. There's only a little tiny speck of darkness. It's the yin yang symbol. It is all encompassing. Yeah, there's horrible shit that happens. There's good shit that happens, and we all give it names. It means nothing in the end other than like our symbolism. You know what I mean?
I am the walrus.
But it's why it's important to have these conversations, because there's so many people out there who have the fucking tools to do the healing, but they won't take it to do the healing. Like, it's the thing that will shift you out of your mind when you're like, I don't know, nothing will work. I can't get this right. I can't do this. Can't do that. Well, shakes you up.
That's preventing them from taking it is also the same thing that's holding them back in the rest
That's
of the
what I'm explaining to you, Nerdy. And I understand. I have sympathy for people who have an environment where they're like, hey, man, I live with my mom. She doesn't like drugs and shit like that. It's like, it's an excuse. They're all excuses. If you really want something in life, you'll do fucking anything to get it. And if the tools are there in front of your face, you're going to use those tools to do what you have to do.
I wouldn't do anything, but put a
Well,
lot of
you
effort
know what
into
I'm
it.
saying.
Yeah.
Come on. You know what I'm saying, though, bro. You'll fucking climb out of a goddamn pit without a ladder. You'll do what you have to do. Yeah,
Allows
something
you to
that you have
quit,
to do, though.
like
And then these,
Batman.
obviously, it's like, yeah, you've got your screwdriver now, which is a great tool, but it's not going to work for everything, right? So then you're going to need the 4 agreements, right? You're going to need the way to love, and you're going to need the way back Wednesday, and all these other fucking other tools.
The way I always say it is like, if you're gonna basically wipe the slate clean on all your programming, what are you going to replace it with? Otherwise, you're probably going to fall back into the same old habits
You
because
stand for nothing, you fall for
nothing else in
anything.
your life has changed. You got to fill that gap with something, and I think the best thing is the 4 agreements.
Yeah.
And then,
And if all you stand for is
don't
your
stop
ego
there.
and your pride, your reputation, then
And I
that's
don't
what your
want,
life will become.
I don't want anybody to think that that's it. That's the end of the story either. I'm like, I think you should keep growing past the 4 agreements.
Hmm.
Find inspiration, find other truths. Like, for example,
Book of the Dead.
Book of the Dead with the 42. I'm like, that's 42 things. I'm like, I could probably make it better too. I'm going to consolidate.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
going to work on it a little bit more.
The
But
harder something is to look at, the more we can learn from it, for sure.
and because it's a negative confession, there was no room for the 4 agreements because I couldn't. It's all about the things that you. It's all about you confessing the sins that you did not do during your life, and the 4 agreements isn't organized that way. So there's probably some of the things is about not taking things personally. Some of the things is about like doing your best, but like not really. So it's kind of hard to. It is more about like. It's more similar to the 10 Commandments, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more commandments than just the
Yeah.
10.
And even
For me,
if
I
you
feel
count all of them,
I knew I was ready with the hero dose when I was at T for a while and introduced to the 4 agreements and really took it seriously, and then it was just like seemed like one thing holding me back, and it was that large dose, and that
mhm,
I had the right programming in front of me in the right group, um, so I think that was like the biggest thing to help me, change pretty much. And I went through, like, I took a really large dose and had hours of different emotions and went through different things. And it was my son. He was a trip sitter. He didn't know it until after I took it, and then I was like, oh, by the way, I just ate, so many grams, and so he was really cool about it, and you know, we just hung out and talked and everything. And I mean, I was laughing one minute, crying one minute. He's showing me things on his phone, and I'm like, totally mind blown. And it was that part there. I think was really most memorable. Like I can't remember what he was showing me, but it was just like I was like so mind blown of like just the simplest things like that, childlike enthusiasm, but multiplied by like 1,000. And but just working through so many different things and having that right program in
Yeah.
front of me is what would help.
beautiful, dude. Um, mushrooms are cool because you can make that commitment and then suffer the consequences later. A cool thing I always explain to people. This is kind of my mindset with this. With DMT, when you're there, you do DMT, especially if you smoke it out of a cart where it's like you have to hit 3 or 4 times to actually break through. A lot of the times you'll get right to that precipice and you're too scared. Or right now you could be like, oh, I can do it. But when your mind starts to dissolve, when your ego fades away and you don't have that hero strength, I'll do it. Then who are you? Are you still courageous enough to do it? And a lot of people aren't under that circumstance. With mushrooms, it's kind of you commit to it, you do it, and you're there. Unless you know better, and then you're like a little bit hesitant, which is the respect. I think about it as like it's having respect for the medicine, like knowing the potential and the power of what you hold in your hands. It's not a fucking toy. It's not a game. That's why I'm having this conversation with everyone. Like, take it as a fucking funny Terrence McKenna meme online. He says, "Take it easy, dude, but take it." Like, take the shit, but take it easy when you take it, man. Like, know your limits and shit. Know your source. Most importantly, always fucking test your stuff to begin with, and then fuck around. Take some microdoses, take some big doses, figure this shit out. It's really fun.
Cyber Jolie says, can't you do DMT without smoking? I think there's a way to do edibles with it. I don't know how, but if I were
Yes.
to start making something, that's what I would want to do.
Yeah, I don't encourage people and I don't even educate people on this because it's something I let people educate themselves on because of the fact of someone mentioned it today. They were taking oral DMT and all the comments were so ignorant. DMT is not activated that way. DMT is not activated that way. Yeah, correct. Unless you take an MAOIs, which most people aren't, but people on SSRIs and antidepressants and things like that, this can cause a fucking severe reaction to orally ingesting DMT to where it's a dangerous thing. So I try not to enlighten people about that. But yeah, theoretically and technically, you can eat it orally, but there's a lot of like preparation that you have to do.
There's a different.
You could also do it with.
Right.
You could also do this with mushrooms. There's tons of natural MOLIs like Syrian rune that contain harmaline that will increase the effects of mushrooms, but it's a really dangerous thing. Again, it's like to me, I always laughed at when my friends did that. I'm like, damn, the mushrooms are already strong enough, dog. Like, why you got to add something stronger to it? Yeah. And DMT is that way. Like, if you're not going to go and do it the traditional way, in a jungle and prepared all that stuff, then you're asking for 4 hours of sitting in hell in your bedroom because you took way too much. You mishandled your dose. DMT is really hard to dose.
Well,
It's
is
something
now
I've
8:30.
Cool. Yeah, just
Go
one
ahead,
more
finish
thought
your
before we
thought.
finish up. But yeah, it's been something that I'm scared to offer people DMT as a sacrament here on Mystery Journeys because it's already people don't show respect enough for mushrooms. And if you're talking about something that DMT is so much more powerful than mushrooms, is like people have even less respect for it, less knowledge about it. So it's more important for me just to knowledge and educate people on it than encourage them because people, it's a dangerous thing. It's like, it's not a toy, dude. I can't be like more encouraging about that. So yeah. Let people know their limits, and if you don't, learn your limits. If you've only done mushrooms a handful of times, hey, you got to listen to people that have done it before and more, and take their inferences, and then see if that works for you. But
If you
don't take anything that people say to heart.
If you want to share one of your stories, come on Friend Friday, and talk
Cool.
about it, and so you can share your experience and we get another view out there, another perspective.
I would love to have somebody on Friday talking about their experience.
Yeah.
We need more people on.
Yep.
Need more faces.
Cybers just said that she had a great experience the other night. That would be awesome if you shared it. Joe Dees is waiting for a Mush Fest. How about a Friday night, Joe?
Yeah.
Joey says I'm afraid of DMT, but someday. Yeah, that's what I was saying though. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. And we have nothing really to fear. That what encourages me to do these doses is I have nothing to fear but being the same person that I am. Like that's what I have to fear. I can only be, it's like sometimes we choose the comfortable hell for the unknown heaven. And that's what I want to choose, the unknown heaven. It's around the corner rather than stay stuck in the same person that I am.
Rip that Band-Aid off.
Let it go. But lighten up.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone. We ran a little bit long tonight, but you guys come over there and meet us on the Discord on Mystic Journeys. We're going to be playing some Minecraft, but you can come over there and shoot the shit. You don't have to play with us. Just hang out. But yeah, it's Minecraft Monday.
I'm working in my liminal spaces, like back rooms.
Very cool. I got to do a golem sword. There's all kinds of nerdy shit going on over there. But if you guys play Minecraft, come join our server. Or if you never played before, fucking download it and come join us. It's really fun.
Give me a reason to play and let loose once a week.
Be creative, baby. Yep. See you guys over there. Thanks everyone for practicing the agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. Have expectations. Always do your best. And we will see you guys tomorrow for Bible study, Derek, correct? Yep. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Good.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.